Hey, hello and welcome to the show. I had the mute button on, but now I don't. It's me, John Park, and I am excited to be here and excited to see so many of you over in our chat, both on YouTube and on Discord. If you want to find out where this chat is happening, go to adafruit.it/Discord, and you can join in on our Discord server. This is in the live broadcast chat channel. And let's see. Why don't we get going? Because this is a cool one. This is a really exciting one. It's also a terrific price. So I want to let you know where to go to see what we think may be one of the only or the only electronics shows or live streams from inside of an electronics product page. And that's this one. So if you head to that URL on the QR code or the URL there, you will find the product page. It'll be a sneak peek as to what the product is, and you're going to see that it's 50% off, which is bonkers. So what I'll do next is I'll have Lady Ada tell us a little bit about this, so we'll jump back in time to the product release. So take it away, Lady Ada.
The Macropad.
It's fully assembled, and there's no soldering required. It's got, it's a Macropad, so it's got 12 mechanical keys that you can plug into those slots. They're KL sockets or compatibles. Each one has a NeoPixel that goes underneath. You can blow through the key. On the back, you've got the RP2040 from Raspberry Pi. It's a great little chip, which you can run Arduino or CircuitPython on. 8 megabytes of flash that go with it. Each key is connected to an individual GPIO, so you don't have to do any matrix driving. It's just like one key per. We also have a 128 by 64 monochrome OLED, which I think is just it's super fun if you want to display what you're typing or have some feedback or overlay details. There's also a rotary encoder that we solder in. It's a D10T rotary encoder, so it's like 20 D10s per revolution, and there's a push button in. There's also on the back a little speaker. So the speaker is 8 millimeters. It's not like a high resolution speaker, but it's good for like little beeps or sound effects or tones or audio feedback. So you want to know when you type something, it'll maybe say what you typed or give you a sound effect. So you've got the basics, right? And so you could also get the 12-pack of keys that we talked about. You can get the 12-pack of translucent keycaps, but maybe you want like a little enclosure type thing. So this is 2 PCBs and a little bit of hardware that you can add on to your Macropad to kind of make it more fully ready to go. This is what we call the enclosure or the mechanical part. So there's 2 PCBs. One of them is a mechanical key plate. That's the part that has all the holes cut out. So it doesn't have any mounting holes, but what it does is when you snap in the keys, they kind of all hold each other in place and it keeps them really nice and solid. It works very well. It's a stabilizer plate for just 12 keys. And then you've also got this really beautiful bottom plate that's designed by Phil B with like a cool like NASA space theme, like Vera Rubin quote, got some sort of like Voyager probe type thing going on there, space planet. We're going with space theme for the Macropad. You can reverse it either way, either you like the black and white monochrome or you want like the golden probe display type, whichever, you bolt onto the back. It also comes with 4 bumpers, so to protect your desk, the 4 screws to attach the bottom plate, and then a rotary encoder knob. Okay, but let's say you're like, I too complicated. I don't want to get separate keys and key switches and keycaps and whatever. I want the whole thing. We get the starter kit. So you get the whole thing. You can make your very own 3x4 OLED and rotary encoder Macropad. We looked at a lot of Macropads. They're all really awesome. They're great. We just wanted something that was kind of like a little bit of everything. You've got a smidgen of rotary encoder. You've got a smattering of keys. You've got, an OLED display, USB-C, RP2040 chip controlled. So it's got kind of a little bit of everything, but it's really easy to reprogram in Arduino or CircuitPython, which is what we're supporting with this. And I think it'll be neat. You can use this. CircuitPython has great MIDI support. It's got keyboard support. It's got mouse support. You can use our new, faster key scanning core in CircuitPython 7 to make your own Macropad. And of course, the OLED display, you can use that as feedback to display what the keys are, what they do, or if you have an overlay or functionality, or you just want to have Bongo Cat going, go to town. So this is the 128 by 64 monochrome OLED, and you can see here I've got the rotary encoder. You can detect when it's pressed as well. And then over here, each key has a north-facing NeoPixel. There's a lot of debate. Should we do north or south-facing? Well, north-facing one. Hold on. And then, each key here can be detected individually. You can press as many or as little as you want. It's very fast. The OLED is SPI, so it updates very quickly. Each key is individually connected to a GPIO, so you don't have to do any scanning. You can just quickly check if it's held down, and then rotary encoder add-on, and then all together, it's a very beautiful silk screen on the back, thanks to Phil B. This is just decorative. The bottom plate is mechanical, but we didn't want to go with acrylic. We wanted something a little more sturdy, so we did FR4, and this shows you how it's put together. So there's the bottom plate, the standoff that's built into the Macropad, and then this is the mechanical support plate that keeps all the keys nice and sturdy. So there you go. We've got our very own Keeb.
Hey, you know what? I think I've got one over in my mystery cabinet. I'm going to go right over there and poke around a bit and grab one. I'll be right back. Hey, that's right. There it is. This is the product pick of the week. It is the Macropad RP2040 starter kit. You can see I've added a little hanger onto mine for hanging over here later. That doesn't normally come with it, a little piece of paracord. But this is, as Lady Ada said, a all-in-one Macropad. It's got 12 keys, which you can replace using different types of MX-compatible key switches that may be linear, tactile, clicky. It's up to you. And you can put your different keycaps on top of those as well. It comes with these nice DSA profile, sort of symmetrical low-profile caps. You can hot swap those because it's not soldered on, and I'll pull this apart in a minute so we can take a look at it. Besides the keys, this is running the RP2040 microcontroller. We have one GPIO pin per, so we're not even doing a scan matrix for this, so it's very fast to grab the keys, and you can press them all at once. It'll read all keys. We have the OLED screen, 128 by 64 OLED screen for displaying stuff, and the little rotary encoder with click push on it. Now, besides that obvious stuff on the front, we have STEMMA QT port there, so you can add other things. Someone had asked about expanding this. Well, in fact, if you take something like, this is one of our 1x4 add-on Neo keys, you could plug that right in there and add 4 more and do as many of those as you want, I think up to 32 of them. So you could make it bigger. But by itself, it works great for all kinds of Macropad projects. Why don't I demo this a little bit? So I'm going to jump to this down shooter right here. You can see here I've got some of the extras laying about. So this is the little top plate that keeps the keys nice and secure when they go into their little sockets there. This adds a little mechanical stability to it. And I'll go ahead and plug this in with USB-C, which is really nice that it's a USB-C type of connector. And here's a little demo program that I created. So this is showing off the display, and it's a really fast to update display. Let me get that glare off of there. So here I'm just changing these numbers with the encoder. It's not actually doing anything, but this is something that's very simple to set up for something like your volume control in your HID consumer code. And when I'm clicking it right now, I'm just doing a brightening of all of the NeoPixels. You can see it's really fast and responsive. And then I have these set up for numbers like a phone number pad, actually. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I made a little legend up here on the screen. I also have star and pound. And if I use these right now, you'll see I've got some of these keys hooked up to my software's camera controls, or layer controls inside of the broadcast software. So this will switch things around as I press it, which is a really nice use for this, which is as a camera switcher. But that's working just by entering in numbers with this version of the code. Now I'll go ahead and pop this out for a second, and actually let's head over to the product page to talk about this. So here you can see, if I refresh this, I'm scared to look. Hey, we have 70 still in stock. I think we had about 100 when we started. So people have been buying these at this really reduced price of $24.98. It's a really terrific bargain. And if you click on the link down here at the bottom of the product page, hey, look, there's our broadcast. You will head over to the primary guide for the Macropad. So click over here. You'll see we've got assembly instructions. So this shows you how those switches go into the switch plate, and then you can carefully insert those legs into the sockets and press it down. So no soldering required to change out your switches. And you can mix and match too. You can have some clicky, some linear, some tactile if you want. And the backplate can go on one of two ways. It can be that Vera Rubin design, or it can be this control panel design here. So flip it around, it's symmetrical. And then you'll put on your keycaps and be ready to go. Now we have a bunch of code examples of how to use this. There is a Macropad library for CircuitPython that makes it really easy, sort of a high-level library that makes it easy to just ask for key presses, send the NeoPixel color changes, update the display, read the encoder knob, all of that stuff kind of under one nice, easy library, or you can do it a little lower level if you want with sort of the sub-libraries that make that up. One other example I wanted to show here is I had built let me get this out of the way. I had built this case, a little 3D printed case, and I have a guide that shows how to put this together and gives you the files you need for those. This is some example code that's in that main library, or rather that main guide on sending MIDI messages. I always like to send MIDI messages. And this also demonstrates you can use any orientation that you want of well, up, down, left, right, 90-degree orientations of this. And in one simple little bit of code, you can tell it, oh, I'm flipped 180 degrees, and then it'll change the ordering of the keys and the orientation of the screen, which is really cool. And this means I get a little knob here. I can control, hey, you hear that sound? I can control some of the patch selection or bank selection inside of a piece of synthesizer software. And then I can go and pick different sets of sounds. I can also press the little click button here to change what that knob is doing. So instead of changing the patches, now it's going to change the parameters of a filter. And I also have a pitch bend that I added to that. Woo, that's nice. So that's another example of some code that we have examples for. And of course, one of the most popular uses is as a macro pad, which is having the keys assigned to things like launching applications, opening up a fresh new email, selecting all, copy, paste. Those types of macros are straightforward to set up, and we have example code that will show you how to put that onto the board. It'll allow you to then change config files for what you want your keys to do, what you want them to say on the screen, what colors you want things to be. And we also have code for Arduino, so you can use this with Arduino or CircuitPython, which is nice and straightforward. Let's jump into some code. I'll pop this other example because it's really simple, which is the number pad I built here. And how about, okay, our code view. So I'll jump over to my coding app. Where'd you go? There you are. And this one I actually created. It's a simplified version of our macro type of program in that I have the code that's running on the board, and I also have a little separate file, which is my key map file. For this, I have created some preset colors that I can call. And then I have a little map here of what each key does. So I'm counting these as 0, 1, 2, and so on. And here I say what color the key is, if it's a key or a key code, or rather consumer code for things like volume knob on your computer for HID USB, and then what it actually does. So these can be, if you see here the example of key number 9 here, it sends shift 8, which is the star. So you can layer up your macros with this. You can also have it type things out using the keyboard layout commands. So this is referenced by my main code here, which imports a bunch of libraries, sets up the key pins, and then reads those when I press, let me jump down to the main loop of the program, this little key events. We do key event get. I'm not using the Macropad high-level library here. I'm using things like the, what is this one called? Where are you? Keypad? Yeah, keypad. And then this is actually what's showing up in the label data. That could also be something that you have over in your config file. So we have a bunch of these types of examples up. Makes it really easy to get started, get up and running, as well as just grab some of the other projects that we have. So speaking of projects, if I head back to Chrome browser here, we'll just type in Macropad. You'll see here we've got the hotkeys project, the main Macropad guide. Here's an F2A authentication application. Even has little icons loaded onto the keycaps. We have some little relegendable keycaps so you can print out icons. Here is the Macropad remote over USB to control Home Assistant. It's a little game that Phil B made, drag and drop. There's an Ableton Live Macropad launcher I built, some Braille keycaps that the Rees brothers did. Isaac did a little scheduler for watching the Summer Olympics, which is really cool. And one of the things that you'll see with a lot of those Macropad projects is the ability to use the encoder to switch between whole screens of uses for the keys. So the function of all your keys can change depending on which screen you're on or layer you're on in more of a keyboard terms, keyboard speak. Here's a Minecraft turbo pad I made that just does essentially types commands for you inside of the console, inside of Minecraft. And then there's a lot of them that have also been put out there in the community. So you can look around, check out our forums, check out our Discord, and see some other uses. So that is the product pick of the week. Let me know if you've got any questions over in the forums before we go. Let's see what our count looks like. I'm going to refresh my page over here. We have, how many do we have in stock here? Going up, 57 in stock. All right, we sold quite a few. Maximum per customer is 10 of them. Makes a great gift. If you're giving holiday gifts, you want to have them sent to you, maybe customize them for a certain use for someone, and then give them Zoom shortcuts and mute keys or that type of thing, so they don't have to configure it and can get some use out of it right away. Put a Simon Says game on it. Those types of things are a lot of fun. So it makes for a great gift, especially at this price. They're, what do we say? Normally $50. Now it's $25, $24.98. So get 1, get 2, get 10. Why not? I think that's going to do it. So thanks everyone for stopping by. Let me close this out here. So that is the product pick of the week. It is the Macropad Starter Kit. Comes with the board, enclosure, keys, keycaps, and knob, as well as some extras like bumpers and screws to put it all together. I'm going to put that on my increasingly crowded board of cool stuff. And that's going to do it. So thanks everyone for stopping by, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.